The Skoda Enyaq was first unveiled in 2020 in Prague. But this wasn't the start of the electric journey for Lauren Clement. No, that started back in 1908. And also we can't forget the Citigo either. There was an electric variant of that. But this is the future. I'm Ben Quirk, this is the Skoda Enyaq iV. Welcome to Planet Auto. The Skoda Enyaq's built on the MEB platform, and it's a fully electric vehicle, so you won't find an ICE variant anywhere in the world. I mean, the thing about the Enyaq is you can get an eco interior, you can get things like augmented reality heads-up display, and a variety of powertrains as well, meaning you can get anything from about 280 miles up to about 330. And Skoda have made it really easy to kit out your motor. You can literally choose from the powertrain, then your interior, and then the options. The range starts at just under 35,000 for the iV60, or you could go for the iV80, which starts at just over 40,000. So there's a bit of leeway when it comes to prices. You can get things like full leather, like we have, and yes, it's not faux leather. You have faux leather on some of the door cards, but you could also go for eco. Now, if you want top of the range, well, you're going to have to go for the 80X Sport line, and that's even 4x4, and that starts at 47,000. Sadly, none of these vehicles are eligible for the OLEV grant. No one saw that one coming. The thing about this vehicle is, I think it's 40% of the steel's recycled, and then they use different materials for the interior, the exterior. The fact that there'll be a VRS. Music to my ears. Driving this for the last few days, it's been out of this world, it really has. It's just full of all the bells and whistles. It's ridiculously good. Yeah, okay, it's not the cheapest vehicle in the world, but why would it be? For a start, it's fully electric. So this one's about £45,000, but this doesn't have all the packs on it either. The first thing you notice when you look at the car is it's on 21-inch wheels. I mean, that's pretty mind-blowing in itself. But the fact that you can get matrix headlamps, it's got lots of safety, including when I was driving it the other day, it detected there was a car on the left and a car on the right, and it swerved. And when you go deeper into that, which we will do in the driving section, you'll just see how advanced this vehicle is. But the thing is, it's not overbearing, so you never feel like, actually the car's in control and I'm not. It's not sentient. The one thing I didn't expect about the new Enyaq is the fact that it's rear-wheel drive. It's near 50-50 weight distribution. Now you're probably sat there thinking, 45k for a Skoda? Well, bear in mind, Skoda's changed quite a bit since the 80s. I mean, it still has its die-hard fans, but this is seriously advanced and well worth the money. And if you don't believe me, take one for a test drive. Now, where do you start with the styling? Yeah, it retains the look of Skoda, but they've just made it far more futuristic and modern. As far as looks, I think this is one of the best proportioned cars ever. To be honest, this front reminds me of the Kodiaq VRS, one of my all-time favourite SUVs. I mean, just look at the sleekness on the lights. The blend of chromes, matte finishes, gloss finishes, and this imposing look just, well, it makes the Enyaq stand out for a mile. But the other thing is, it's not radically styled like some EVs. So you could quite happily turn up at the company picnic and not look like you're in a spaceship. But you can change that and have a crystalline front. That's what I'd go for. Now, I know I end up getting rather passionate about things like styling, but it's not surprising when you have lovely curvature like this. And just look at these grooves in the bonnet. The diamond-esque styling at the bottom. Sleek body lines. It just looks, well, it's certainly got a presence, hasn't it? It also has the power and the tech to back it up. Pull 0 to 60 in 8.2. When it comes to tech and safety, well, there's a fair few routes. For a start, all the vehicles come with LED lights, but this is basic LED. So automatic, high beam assist, yada yada. But then you can go for matrix, and they do all types of things like bending the beam patterns so you don't dazzle oncoming cars. Strangely, there's no driving or fog lamps. But to be honest, you don't really need them. It's got collision detection, it's got collision avoidance, it's got swerving whilst avoiding a collision, it's got adaptive cruise control, advanced road sign recognition. The list is literally endless. What I'll do is go through a full list in the driving section. Proportion wise, it's beautiful from the side as well. And when you incorporate that sloping roofline, it just looks aggressive. It's a very good looking SUV. And when you combine it with things like 21-inch wheels, I mean, yeah, that's not the only size. And it's not the lowest profile tyre in the world either. So it's comfortable. But it just looks the part. Nothing on this vehicle looks oversized. It just looks right. Some of the design cues as well. Like this vent here. Yes, it's not a functional vent, but it looks pretty cool. Power folding door mirrors, blind spot detection. The combination of chrome and black really works on a car, especially when you make it red. And the other thing about this vehicle is it looks far bigger in person than it does in pictures. Chromed out roof rails, and yes, we've got no panoramic sunroof, but it is an option. Now you're probably looking at the sloping roofline thinking, yeah, it looks all cool, all sporty, but that must reduce headroom in the back. Well, it doesn't, but we'll take a deeper look at that on the interior. When it comes to charging, well, 50 kilowatt per hour is max, or it is as standard. You could option up and go for 125 kilowatt per hour. That'll then charge in about 38 minutes for 80%. You can also Type 2 and home charge. Front discs, rear discs, and the front are vented. Don't mind me, I'm just admiring the looks. Now you couldn't have said that in the 80s. Many a Skoda were the butt of all jokes, and it was just, well, it was sad. I had a soft spot for some of these, like the Estelle, but this is just good looking. Yeah, I know it's all part of VWG now, but I honestly think that was a good thing. Like the front, you've got a mix of finishes, satin, matte finishes, and the addition of the chrome. And it looks quite aggressive. Not quite as aggressive as the front, but you've still got this chunky rear bumper. Such sleek lines. I mean, just look at the flow of the body here, and then running into this sculpted rear lens, and this is LED. Now it may not be the biggest rear window, but it's perfectly fine for manoeuvring. And if not, you've got a reversing camera and parking sensors anyway. We're finished off with a lovely sporty rear spoiler and a shark fin aerial. Now one of the questions we get asked is, can an electric vehicle pull? Well, do you see a tow bar? No. But does that mean it doesn't have one? No. More on that later. Now under the bonnet. Look at this. It's a clever little neck. Big chunky plastic thing, you won't miss that on a dark night. Now I did expect struts, but apart from that, weirdly, there's a lack of orange. But that's because it's rear wheel drive. So the motors and the batteries line the floor, and then you've got the motor on the rear axle. Two. Normally you just have one in the centre. Ooh, an arrow! Not the heaviest bonnet either, and if you've noticed, it's like double hinged. It's always interesting the options we get on Skoda models, and this one is no different. The fact is, we have keyless go, but we don't have keyless entry, meaning we have to unlock the door the good old-fashioned way. Okay, not the key, but with a key fob. That will also fold the mirrors out. Door opens nice and wide, and it's a decent wide opening too. And first things first, soft materials on top of the door, and this is lovely and plush and padded. And yeah, I can actually say for once those are real leather seats. But you don't need to go for that option. You could go for the Eco, and then that will use recycled materials. You can also get faux trims and all types of things. Climbing in, nice and easy. And look, a grab handle. Ooh, did you hear that? I think this is the first car that I've got in and I don't actually have to hit start. I could literally just knock it into drive and it will go. Is that a cluster? Yeah, I think that's smaller than an iPhone. But because you've got this 13-inch infotainment screen in the centre, it just doesn't matter. And you can even get a heads-up display with augmented reality. In the words of Skoda, simply clever. Saying that, you've got all the simply clever features. Things like this plastic clip here for parking tickets, the umbrella in the door, and I'm sure there's way more, but I think I might get Annabelle to do a small video on the simply clever aspects. I think there's about 30. Soft touches, nice and plush, stitching, even this is soft touch, and a flat bottom steering wheel. If this is the future of Skoda, I like it. Decent strong build quality. I know I keep using the word plush, but it is. But you've also got the additions of chrome and the piano black. Headroom, well, it speaks for itself. And I'm 6'3". Comfort wise, nice supportive seats, perforated. They really look the part. They're rather understated and they feel really good because you've got decent bolsters here They hold you in position well. The steering wheel, great to the touch, and the overall driving position's very good. Centre armrest, padded area for your arm, reach and brake adjustment in the steering wheel, and I have a fully electric seat too, but the passenger's is manual. Sorry about that. In Annabelle's words, there's more tangents than Tron in this. It's ridiculous. For example, each driving mode has a colour associated, and then that shows through the mood lighting. And then you've got the road sign recognition, and it's not just 30/40 like I mentioned, it shows things like bend ahead. That's the thing about the Skoda Enyaq. It's got so much in it, it really has. You're not overwhelmed per se, but when you've learnt this car, you realise that a lot of it is automated. It's a 2-pedal system and you've got a footrest on the left. We're starting to see this type of shifter being a lot more used. It's got reverse neutral, drive and brake, so that's to do with your regen. But the majority of it is done using the paddles. Yes, in a DSG it'd be up and down, but in this you've got level 3, 2 or 1. And that brings me to driving modes, and they're activated by pressing this button here. Eco, Comfort, Normal, Sport and Individual, and that's where you tailor it to the settings that you require. Great feeling switch gear. Yeah, there is a lack of rotary dials, but that's not really a problem in this, to be honest, because this is nice and easy to navigate, and because you've got the shortcut buttons you can do most of the main things through that. You just press your home button and then you get this. So you've got your navigation on the right, DAB radio, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and you've got access to a myriad of settings. You've got status, data, locations, charging. So you can schedule charging. Oh look, you can choose how much you want it to charge. There is an app out there called My Skoda, and it does have limited functionality, but it's the iV app that unlocks the singing and dancing Skoda Enyaq. So watch out for that. And you've got classic AC or smart AC, and that's where things like voice control come into their own. My head is cold.
No problem. It will get warmer at the front right shortly.
Anyway, I could have hours of fun playing around with all this. Now, I mentioned before that the cluster's not the biggest thing in the world, but it does have all the information that you need. You've got your speedo, you can see what mode you're in, and you can see how much charge you've got. And also some of the safety displays there too. In true VWG style, you've got your lights down here. Now, one thing you'll never want for in this car is storage. It's literally everywhere. 2 cup holders, floating centre part with mass storage here and here. Well, you've got a decent door pocket and it's carpeted. Glove box, that's not a bad size at all. Auto dimming mirror, frameless, very cool. And touch activated lights. My word, Grandma, what long doors you have.
All the better.
For getting in, my dear. Nice wide opening door though. Decent door opening. Oh, look at that. Limousine style. So we've got the family pack, so we get things like blinds. Lovely padded armrest here. Now the rear, that's a hard plastic, but that makes it practical. Ooh, piano black. Might be hard to clean, but it does look damn good. Electric window, and yeah, you've got hard plastics here. But you've still got this styling, and that just makes this far better. Look at the room in here. Above my head, I've probably 2 to 3 inches. Sorry, I looked a bit Crichton then. Good solid clunks from the doors. My seat's set up for me at 6'3", and I've got like masses of room, literally. Feet under the seat, awesome. And I've got myself a little picnic tray. Pull this out to here and then push this in. Smartphone pocket. It's like a toy box. I mean, for example, what? You're not gonna flop, you're just gonna fall asleep. And well, I've got absolutely no challenges with looking out of the window. Usually with a vehicle with a sloping roofline, you kind of get a bit of this. Plush, comfortable, not the deepest seats in the world. Perfect for a long journey. And to be perfectly honest, you quite easily get 3 people in here as well. Pull out cup holders, ski hatch. And it may not have a panoramic, but because it's got no privacy glass and it's got a light headliner, it's very cool in here. It's nice, light and airy. Vents in the centre, mini storage area and 2 USB-Cs. The design language in here is pretty damn futuristic. Things like this ridge near the electric window, you're like, spaceship. Decent door pocket, but weirdly it's not carpeted like the front. But I am really scraping the bottom of the barrel with that. It's just good. I mean, it looks like even the front seats are a little lower, or this is a bit higher. And look, a vehicle with a grab handle above every door. And that helps mobility so much. More touch activated lights. Isofixes and airbags around the vehicle. To pop the boot, press the button on the key fob. Because we've got no keyless entry, you will have to actually press a button. Yeah, we haven't got a power tailgate, but you can get one. A gangster would be perfectly happy with that. Cargo areas on the left and right. Now I call these boot lights, but they're not really, because when this is up, it shines down like that and just illuminates. What a clever idea. Press.
Ta-da!
You've got your inflation kit on the right hand side, and if you lift the carpet, charging cables are neatly stowed in here. We've got a Type 2 and a home charger. There's also a number plate, perfect for towing. More funky features, 12-volt socket and another light. And yes, we mentioned the ice scraper, but we haven't actually produced it. Well, it's going to be in the petrol cap, isn't it? Or should I say charging flap? Oh, it's gone. Now there's no way Skoda would have got rid of it. So, where is it? Well, it's here. To drop these, pull this forward. Yeah, I didn't expect that either, but you can get a false floor, so that would mitigate this height. But if you drop all the seats in here, it will increase to around 1,700 litres. Now there's something rather interesting in here. I mean, other than things like pull-out shopping bag hooks, tethering points, the boot holds a secret. Retractable tow bar. How easy is that? Pull again, releases, and just Skoda. What a way to start.
Skoda!
Welcome behind the wheel of the new Skoda Enyaq. This is the iV80, which means we've got the bigger battery pack and powertrain. So we've got a 150 kilowatt electric motor, and I think it's an 82 kilowatt per hour battery, and that will give us a 330 mile range. Now if you're thinking, how many miles do I get per kilowatt per hour? Well, you're looking at around 3 to 4, which isn't bad, to be honest.
Well, that's it. We all know that the cold affects battery range, don't we?
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting to see what the real world figures do to hold up.
Well, it's 0. Ooh, no wonder it's so icy today. And I had the heaters on for about 15 minutes before, and that used about 1% as well. Well, 1 mile. Let's see what our range is now.
Range check. Feels like we're on a road trip.
Just to outside today, though. 53 miles. Okay, that's interesting, because when I had it in Sport before, it's 36. It's such a peaceful drive in this. Pulls 0 to 60 in about 8.2 seconds. Let's see what the turning circle's like, considering this is a big old beastie SUV. Very good. We've also just seen, as one of the headlines, that they're bringing out an Enyaq coupe, and it looks pretty damn cool. It's got lots of safety, and we even have dynamic chassis control.
Now, it's an option, but it's well worth it, isn't it?
Oh, it is, yeah. But that's the thing about this car, you can option up left, right and centre, things like family packs. But the safety on this is second to none. You've got things like swerve assistance, lane keep assist, adaptive cruise, and I'll go back to adaptive cruise because that's a clever one. Road sign recognition, that's pretty damn advanced. For example, there's an exclamation mark on my cluster here saying, look, there's something untoward coming up, and that's pretty damn accurate. Look, it now goes to that, like a Z bend. And also, if it's in adaptive, it will propose a speed. So say you're travelling along in a 60 limit, or national speed limit, and it sees a bend, it will think, actually, that's about 31 miles an hour, and it will stop the vehicle and bring it down to about 31, then go around the corner And if you're in sport mode, beware, because it will then just floor it off. And I mean floor it. Any of the other modes, perfectly fine. Well, that's how it seems to be for me. It is really intelligent. Also, with the new highway code rules, it's a good job that it's got things like pedestrian and bicycle detection.
Oh yes, that's coming into force.
It is.
Yes.
Suspension, well, dependent on which mode, it can either be pretty damn stiff or very comfortable. It's nice for passengers, and there's very little body roll, especially in sport mode. Put it in comfort and yes, it increases, but that makes it nice and pliable. Due to its weight and the fact that the batteries are across the floor, and the fact that it's rear wheel drive with near 50-50 weight distribution, it handles beautifully and it feels well planted at all times. It's really cool. And let's just hit sport mode for a split second so we can show you how fast this puppy can roll. Sport, and I've already felt it tighten up, and whee!
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Exactly.
That's what it felt like.
No, it's fast. Now, when you're in comfort or eco, it will reduce regen and do it automatically to the lightest setting. Put it in sport and it puts it heavy, so you can essentially do one pedal driving. It's not the heaviest because it puts it to 2, but if you then apply it to 3,
Clear on the left.
thank you, then you can use one pedal driving, absolutely no problem. I'll just apply it by using the shifters here. So on a DSG, this would be shifting up. On an electric VWG vehicle, it's for recoup. So there you go, that's regen. And as you can see, it doesn't entirely stop, it creeps. Even at 0 degrees, you're getting mile for mile. Now, yeah, you can blaze it pretty quickly if you're in sport mode all the time. But if you adopt eco and then use level 3 as well, especially on a country road, you can just recoup left, right and centre, you really can. As for steering, it's nice and weighty when it needs to be, nice and light for manoeuvres. It's got good feedback, and yeah, it is good. The thing is, it's not too light either. I like a nice weighty steering, and that offers it, especially in sport. Light reverse, when you slow down, the sci-fi noise gets a bit louder so pedestrians can hear it. There's one thing I really love about this, and that's the fact it does not keep nagging you when you need to charge. It just gives you a slight warning and then shows you your percentage in red. And that's it. But you should always watch it.
Yeah, so otherwise you won't be going anywhere.
Yeah. The brakes are sharp. I took David out with the 205 the other day and he said, I don't know which impresses me more, the acceleration or the braking. That says something. I've also got this electronic handbrake with hill start assist. You can tweak things like the steering so you can have it on normal or sport. And then you can do things like the drive and even the ACC. Refinement in the cabin, as it's an electric vehicle, it's very good. You do get a bit of tyre noise, but that's not surprising. We're running 21s, but it's only at lower speeds. Randomly, if you get onto a motorway, it kind of melts away, especially on a decent bit of tarmac. It's comfortable. There's no wind noise at all. I'm trying to think. Well, considering you've got this sloping windscreen, you'd think visibility would be quite limited, but because you've got this long dash as well, you've got good visibility everywhere, to be honest. Straight out the windscreen, and this B-pillar isn't a challenge either. We've just done about 2 miles and used no range whatsoever.
This is a win-win when it's this cold, isn't it?
Yeah. And we've got the heaters on as well, and we keep putting the demisters on. And when we were trying it at night as well, even with lights on, it doesn't deplete like you might think an electric vehicle would. A serious abundance of Skodas here today. Look at them go!
Flipping heck. That's rapid.
We've seen a City go, we've seen a Yeti, and I think that was an Octavia or a Superb. Too busy concentrating on the Enyaq. That's a good thing. Mind you, it does concentrate on most things itself. Look at this, Annabelle. Dynamic chassis control, even in comfort mode, just stays well level, doesn't it?
It very well planted. I'm just filming that on the cluster.
If you've
now.
noticed now, it's braking. We're not in adaptive, but it's detected a vehicle in front, so even when it's not in adaptive, it will brake. It's the same for limits as well.
That's an intelligent system, isn't it?
Yeah. The Skoda Enyaq, I think it's great value. You get a decent range, you can choose from powertrains. Okay, ours 45 grand, but the thing is, we've got a fair few packs. And that's the other thing, you can option it up, left, right and centre. It's practical, it's got lots of room, and at 6'3", it presents no challenges whatsoever. Yeah, drive one.